All right. This is Formula One Fans of America, episode 16. Yeah, 16 episodes this year, guys. Jay and I had a few more on a different show, and then we had a few more as individuals, just like testing. But yeah, this is our 16th episode together. We're going to kick off with our usual topic. We were right, we were wrong. And I'm happy to report that we were right about a lot of things. Jay and I were right that we thought McLaren was going to win the Constructors' Championship. We predicted that several months ago, right when we first started actually recording these episodes. Red Bull was not the fastest car in the grid. Jay said that like pretty early into the season and ended up being right. Yeah, like very, very early on in the year, he was like, Red Bull's not going to be the fastest car this year. You said it again when we started recording. Like, I think it was probably like week 8 or something when we started recording. So you were right about that. It's pretty good for it to play out the way that it did towards the end of the season. We were also right that Oscar Piastri was going to be like a formidable driver this year and really come into his own. And he definitely did and proved us right. And I was right. Checo is an 8th place driver. Finishing
okay. Okay. So even the great fucking bottler of himself that has now become Checo Perez after the past 2 seasons. This man cannot drive in countries that have rights last year. And this year, he just can't drive, period. So
that is a rewrite for you too. I think you said it like 8 weeks ago that Checo can't drive in countries with human rights.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite.
But you're welcome for that. So here's the thing. Is that Pierre Gasly has outscored fucking Checo since the summer break, I think it was. Summer fucking break. So we're gonna touch on that one. You're gonna love these stats, Rich.
We are going to talk about Pierre Gasly later on in the show, so let's keep it to that.
Oh no, it won't be Pierre. It'll be the rest of the drama. But no. So realistically, Checo, if we went just since Miami, would have been in 12th place. 12th fucking place in a Red Bull.
One of the 3 fastest cars in the grid.
Depending
on the week and setup. I'd say 4. Yeah. Depending on the week and the setup and the track, but yes. Yeah, he just couldn't get it done. We're going to talk about him later, though, too.
Yuki actually outscored him.
I would not be surprised. And I think that's we're gonna talk about the
people who finish races typically do outscore those that don't finish races. I'm just putting that out there. Like,
I mean, yeah,
that's how points work. Yeah,
I mean,
and
if he wouldn't have got wobbly powered by fucking Haas at Monaco, he might have scored a point or 2.
So let's jump right into this last GP. That first lap was absolute chaos. Piastri got spun out by Max. Leclerc jumped, I think, 8th positions, or did he go from 19th to 8th place? Yeah, he jumped 11 positions.
No, he jumped 19th to 3rd.
No, we're talking about
at the end of the race. I'm saying on the first lap.
Okay.
Jumped 8 positions. Yeah, 8 places. Yeah. And then like on the second and third lap after the virtual safety car, he immediately jumped into 8th and 7th. Was pushing very hard the entire race, ended up in 3rd place. One of the best performances, of his career, I'd say. See, Lando kept pole position. Heyo, look at Lando. Probably saved himself the Constructors' Championship by driving the wheels off the McLaren this week. And especially after the wreck to Piastri and him not being able to get high enough in the points. It was very interesting there for a minute because you had Leclerc jump up, and if Sainz could have passed Norris, it would have made things a lot more interesting, but they just couldn't get it together. But the drama was settled on the first lap by Lando, and so kudos to him. He's had that metal block, pretty much his entire career when he's on pole. It's never been more, omnipresent than this year when he's got huge races to win and the Constructors' Championship on the line. And was actually looking at the, drivers championship about midseason. And then it was like, well, man, you can't just keep it together in the first lap. So it's good that he's getting the monkey off his back. I like that.
2 fucking races out of all of the pole positions that he's taken does not constitute
9.
getting the monkey off his back. And literally
9.
Max saved his ass from, I don't know how many, I don't care how many pole positions
he did it when it mattered.
Only did it twice. He did
it when the pressure was on and the Constructors Championship was on, and he had no more pressure than this one. And he
except for the World Drivers Championship that he could have won if he wouldn't have fucked it off so much.
Wasn't that what I just said?
You said
it's been nagging at him all year. It's been nagging at him. He didn't when the pressure was on for the Constructors Championship. He held it together. This was probably the most important race for him.
The Constructors Championship. Congratulations. They just lost 25%.
The only one worth money.
Getting ready to go
the other one's just bragging rights. Yeah. The other one's just bragging rights and marketing. So, this is for your team. And this is what his job was to do that day.
For a team that was almost bankrupt and had to lease all of the vehicles that are on their like static display, winning the Constructors Championship is a good thing. They might lose some wind tunnel, but
I'm not taking that away from him, Greg, at all. And I fully respect what you're saying. However, a year out from the fucking regulations changing, you want that wind tunnel time. If I was McLaren, I would have fucking tanked.
So you're saying Checo did the right thing?
Yes, and we will get into that in a little bit. But
this is why Alpine had to remove Ocon. He was scoring too much. They were like, we can't do better than 6th. We got to get rid of this asshole. I'm still long Ocon, for the record.
I think they actually, this isn't in the notes, but I actually think that they might have made a mistake not letting him run this last race. Thankfully, Gasly kept it together and had a very good race. Was strong in qualifying. Gasly bailed them out, and that's in the notes, is that like good on them for keeping Gasly, but I think that they would have preferred to have kept Ocon in the seat for this race. Just as a little bit of insurance policy. And as much shit as I talk about him, he would have done better. And so that's my argument. Right. I think he would have done well at that race. So, and let's talk about this, the disrespect towards some of these drivers in their final races and the departure from that. I know we're taking a little bit of a left-hand turn here, but like DR3, that was completely disrespectful. The Ocon thing too, I kind of feel like he got disrespected by that team as well. Let him finish his season out. He's done a lot for them, and he did a lot this year to jump them up into 6th place in the Constructors. And then it was like, oh, nice, thanks. Hey, fuck off.
I mean, same with Sargent. They just replaced him halfway through the week between races.
That is, I think, a little bit more understandable because I think that there was probably discussions leading up to that. And he sort of knew. I don't necessarily know Ocon knew he wasn't going to keep his seat through the last race of the year. And it seemed like in the post interviews, and again, to his credit, I love to talk shit about him, but I will give credit where it is due. He was very diplomatic, but he didn't expect it. And that was kind of what it was. It was like, I didn't know that was going to happen. Wish it had. What are you guys' thoughts on the departures and the way some of these guys have been treated?
I'm gonna say the most unlikable thing I think I've said on this podcast yet, and I've said some fucked up shit. Let's be real here. At the end of the day, nobody that got replaced was a world champion. At the end of the day, they were never on a Constructors title winning team. Bottas is the exception to that one. I will say that. Bottas is the only exception. So what are we supposed to do?
Sainz?
Sainz hasn't ever been on a Constructors winning team or a World Drivers' Championship team.
They were in the battle this year with Ferrari.
He's still going to be on the grid next year. What the fuck does it matter?
Yeah, but with Williams, that's like a go-kart team.
Lewis Hamilton,
really well funded.
Lewis Hamilton, and I fucking hate saying this, is the only one that had the right to fucking get sent off properly. That's
cool. They let him do donuts.
Yeah.
Did you hear Rosberg? Oh, what's this? Lewis has been canceled. Have a great off season, folks. He was dying to say that. He was anything to get a dab in.
But realistically, DR3 is an 8-race winner. I'm not taking anything away from that. But at the end of the day, what has he done in the past 5 years? One race win, and that was because they lucked out like a motherfucker. Straight up lucked out.
Made Red Bull a lot of money
Monza.
with marketing and being everyone's fan favorite.
At the end of the day, what does that matter? You literally just got fired. Do you expect to be given a promotion or a fucking firing tour? At the end of the day, no matter what you've done, how many times have we seen people that have done some fucking shit and just get sent off with a fuck you and have a nice day?
And that's the difference. Like last year, they didn't let Mick do donuts. Mick's like, "Can I do donuts?" And Haas was like, "No, not unless you want to pay for the tires." Lewis, he got to do donuts. He's Lewis, right? Like if Max was leaving, I'm surprised Max didn't get to do donuts considering he won the drivers' championship.
That's kind of where I was at with the whole thing. Is like they didn't let him do donuts. So
fair enough.
But at the end,
I mean,
of the day,
it's a good rebuttal to the
Granier,
argument. Yeah,
Joe Granier, first Chinese driver, he got to celebrate in his home country. He knew he was not lasting the end of the season. Let's be fucking real here. Valtteri Bottas is going back to Mercedes to be a reserve driver. He will be back. He will be back on the grid. Simple as that. K-Mag, not really done anything other than being awarded with the first driver to ever amass 12 points in a fucking year, which
That's an honor.
is fucking impressive. But
I'm still upset that he didn't take the rest of his season to
thank you.
Cause mayhem.
Thank you.
He should have. He knew he wasn't coming back. He had a clean slate. He should have just been, fuck it.
he still wants to drive somewhere.
Was Bottas bowling?
K-Mag's done. K-Mag
Not
is done.
on the F1 grid, but
He's
somewhere
going
in
WEC.
racing. Still wants to drive.
He signed a
somewhere.
WEC contract.
No.
So
I thought he wanted to be a commentator.
I just saw an article. He's going to WEC.
Oh, okay.
He's got a team. Yeah, so good for him because that's a good place to showcase skills and continue to have a paid career as a racing driver.
it's still FIA.
But regardless, who else is there? There's Joe, Bottas, K-Mag.
That's an important point too. It's still FIA controlled, like WEC.
Yeah.
So he definitely
Ocon.
doesn't ruffle any more feathers.
The
He's coming
Ocon
back with
thing.
Haas though. He's not leaving.
No, hold on. The Ocon thing makes perfect fucking sense. You
To not
have
let
a
him drive the
driver-
last race.
Yes, you have a driver
Yeah.
that is an unknown quantity. You have no clue how he's going to do behind that wheel, period. And it
Mhm.
gives them a chance to look at a simplistic track because let's be real here. Abu Dhabi is a very simplistic track. It gives them a chance to see how he's going to do on that track.
Yeah.
If he cannot handle that track, it gives them the option to get out of his contract before the new year starts. If they can do that, they can go pick up Colapinto, they can go pick up Bottas, they can go pick up any of these other drivers, which makes a lot of fucking sense. I think they played it absolutely perfectly, especially considering Ocon basically told them to go fuck themselves mid-year. Not
It's
just because he left. He literally
It
said,
also freed
"Fuck."
him up to do the testing, right? The
Yeah.
postseason
Yes.
test. So
Yes.
They held that over his head apparently.
Yeah, they told him that he wasn't going to be able to do the testing if he raced that race.
Yep. So they played Ocon perfectly. Like I cannot be judgmental.
I get it
of
from
at all.
I get it from a business perspective and like a management perspective. I think it's just my sentimentality that gets in the way, and I'm like, come on, he gave you so much.
Logan
Right.
Sargent.
Fuck you,
Once
we'll move
again,
on.
there. Logan Sargent.
What did he
there's
give
another one
Williams?
that just
Except a
speaks.
bunch of crash ass cars. He got
Albon
fired
did
for
the
a
same
reason. And he
fucking
fucking
thing.
knew that he was getting fired.
17 crashes.
voiced
this year.
my
17.
I voiced my negative opinions of Albon as well.
And I'll do it again.
Albon's still on the fucking grid.
How do we get Terry Cruz's job? Terry Crews is interviewing F1 drivers. Apparently, he's put down his porn addiction and has picked up F1 addiction.
Did he though?
Well, I don't know. I can't confirm that. I'm not his wife who threatened
He
to leave.
picked it up and he put it down.
Is this the representative that we need? I am campaigning against him.
You'll
I
do
believe
very
he should
well.
have Terry Cruz's job. Yes.
Which
should start-
the F1 job or the porn job?
I think I would be better at the F1 job. Rich, you've got the whole fucking like shaggy hair and everything. I think you do fine for the porn job.
I mean, if this F1 stuff doesn't
You're
work
welcome,
out,
Eggs.
I'll get
All
my
you gotta
15 minutes
do
of
is
fame.
just like shave the beard, keep the mustache. You'd be good to go.
I could go like full 70s look if I just shaved the beard off and kept the stash.
Yeah.
I do grow a mean
To
mustache.
get you an only beards page.
I could do like Feet Finder or something. I got some weird toes.
I have a recommendation for this particular podcast. Let's go back and talk about the race. Maybe the opening lap. Anything but Rich's feet, all right? Let's change it.
I don't know how we got there, Rich. 15:30. Anyways.
Oscar Piastri still tried to do was trying to mount his own comeback and then just crashed in the back of a Williams. I can't remember. Was it Cole Pinto that he crashed into? Somehow didn't destroy the front wing.
He barely hit him. So it seemed like he hit him much harder than he did from the cockpit view, but obviously he didn't, because he didn't really destroy the front wing very much. He made a joke about it afterwards. I loved his comment, just so calm, cool, collected over the radio. Like, oh yeah, move of world champion, that one. Then he goes and he blasts somebody in the braking zone. Like,
that boy.
Well, yeah. He joked about
that
though. He said, I had the issue on the first lap, and then I finished the job crashing in the back of the Williams. And so I liked he had a good sense of humor about things. He's self-aware.
Yeah.
He gave a
His
good
radio call.
post-race.
Yeah.
When they told him what the penalty for Max was going to be, he was like, "Good."
Yeah.
Straight up fucking does not give a shit. Now,
very quickly becoming my favorite.
We are going to talk about
personality
this spin. We are going to talk about this spin. Fuck.
Oh, Jesus
no.
fucking
This is what needs to happen. Where is my fucking
He's
tab?
like, Exhibit A. I will share the screen where Max was clearly alongside.
Oh, no. I'm not saying
Searching.
that. I'm not saying that what Max did was anywhere near proper. Not at all. I am arguing with Rich exclusively on this one, because he's like, oh, he just won the Constructors World title. No, look at this shit. Oscar is already lined the fuck up to take Lando and pass him. No questions asked. He would have made that move stick, right?
Lando? He's
Oscar's right here.
Lando.
Oscar's
said
right
Lando.
here.
You said
No,
Lando.
he's Oscar. No, Oscar is getting ready to overtake Lando.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
He's
say.
probably just guarding the inside because that's where Max is.
Do you remember?
That's not where Lando was looking.
Was it Monza or Imola?
Max had enough.
I can't remember right now.
Go ahead. Keep talking about what you're talking about. Just go.
Okay.
Yeah,
regardless, whenever Oscar went around fucking Lando at Monza or fucking Imola, I can't remember which, I apologize. Max is being the good homeboy here. Look at him. He's like, oh, I got you, bitch. And Rich argued with me that, it didn't help Lando at all. Blah, 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 blah. Bullshit, bitch. There you go. Now there goes Lando. Sainz can't get through. That creates a hell
drove
of a
literally
gap.
straight through them. The fuck are you talking about? He
I'm
literally
saying
drove
right
straight through
here.
them. I
He's a
watched
thunder.
his cockpit view. I literally
He's like,
watched
I
him
know
go back
right
and
there
watch his
he
cockpit
late-
view.
He always
lifted.
spins high.
Did he or did he not lift? Yes or no?
Yeah, he has to lift.
Was he able to keep full?
Okay,
exactly. Which
So that's what
creates
caused
a
him the whole
space.
fucking race. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's not
Moving
because
on.
the whole race. He was
Once
like
Lando gets past the
Thank you,
first
Meg.
or third corner, he is perfect. I will not argue
Right.
the fact that Lando is perfect once he gets past that.
It was a
first or
dumb
third
shit
corner.
fucking move by Verstappen. He caused a crash.
I
That's why he got
never
the fucking penalty.
denied
He
that
was
fact.
passing. He did
Not
not give
fucking-
himself
Guys,
enough
guys,
room. He
you're
did
both
not turn
pretty.
it hard enough on
Let's
the
move
inside. He
on.
didn't turn the fucking car. Oscar opened up
Okay.
the steering wheel and gave him room.
Okay.
We're
We're
gonna
not
move on.
disagreeing on that, Rich, at all.
one point here. Sainz had a gap to close. He had like 3/4 of the race to close it and didn't do it. So that was obviously Lando managing the gap.
Made it most a
There was no
4-second
touching
fucking
him.
gap.
He knew exactly what he had to do. He knew he had to go long on tires in case they were one stop, and it like Lando drove the perfect race. You see how proud that kid was? He was like, I won McLaren their first constructor championship since that guy up in the booth who keeps using the same catchphrases did it in 1700. He's proud.
But regardless,
He was
that
he was
created-
very proud of himself, and then he did call it out. Next year is my year. We'll see. I'm going to make the bold prediction that no, Lando Norris will not win the Drivers' Championship next year.
Probably not.
Agree with that.
Is it his haircut that's holding him back? He has like a boy band haircut from the 90s. Like, is that
no? It's the whole
messing with his
villain arc.
Head balance. The wannabe. What?
I just think it's
wannabe villain arc.
He'll still continue to struggle to keep his composure under pressure, and he'll continue. Like, the monkey is not off his back. It just was that day. It just was that day. And it just happened to be one of the most important races of the season for his team. So I think he deserves kudos and credit for that.
I think
Checo's got to be fucking done now.
Next year.
Checo has to be fucking done now, right? Like, if your boss is calling you out in the news, and it's like he'll be the one to make the decision of what he does.
Wasn't it confirmed that he's going to be an ambassador next year? It wasn't?
Not confirmed. I didn't see anything officially confirming it.
Ambassador to Ukraine.
Just, like,
no.
I'm sorry. I actually like Checo a lot. He just stinks right now.
Okay.
And it's tough.
Right now?
But, like, he lost his mental edge at Monza. Or, excuse me, not Monza.
He won in a pink car.
In Monaco. He lost his edge, man. That's something that we've said all along this whole season. I pointed out, he's one of 3 fathers on the grid. His car came completely apart. His dad nearly had a heart attack.
This is why you don't have kids.
Yeah, should have pulled out.
That's what
I'm still hoping mine's going to be
that one.
Go-karting champion. So,
anyways, so now as far as Checo is concerned, currently Red Bull wants him to retire so they don't have to pay him a fucking dime, considering he's cost them now $25 million this year between salary and crashes. So I think Red Bull made negative amounts of money off of the sponsorship deals from Checo, which is impressive.
Do you think that's what his goal? Do you think he was trying to do that?
I don't know.
Just to see if it could be done.
I mean,
I feel like he's so bad right now that he's just like, I want to see how much I can fuck this up before they throw me out the door.
Regardless, so Red Bull cannot, they can fire him, but they're going to eat $20 million, give or take. So they're looking at it as Checo make the right fucking decision, because realistically, and we've talked about this numerous times, it has to be destroying his fucking mental health. Like, absolutely has to be destroying it, because you're literally hearing it from all over the world that you suck.
I can't handle that at a local go-kart track. If I'm not the fastest driver, I'm like, ah!
But regardless, I don't see how they keep him. And we were discussing the points totals from just Miami onward. Like, he sucked a lot. Like, a whole lot. So much so that a prison bitch might blush. But, I don't know how Red Bull keep him. And I don't think they're planning to. I think they're giving up this ambassador role just to try to save some face. But they're hoping he turns it down. But he still just walks away. And he's not going to walk away because he's stubborn as fuck. And he's got his daddy in his ear yapping, saying, oh, you can win a World Driver Championship. No, you're not going to. Simple as that. So, where do you go from here on this? It's impossible to figure out because Red Bull's playing this so fucking stupidly close to the chest.
And now, not for nothing, this is going to make an already silliest of silly seasons even sillier if they go and make a change, because that could shuffle someone else, right? Like, everyone seems to just be passing around all these drivers. Like, stuff could still happen.
So what they're going to do is, I have a feeling they're going to announce it Thursday that Checo is gone and whoever's going to replace him is going to replace him. Whether that be Lawson or whether that be Yuki is up in the air still, I would say. And the reason why I say that, and you really have to still consider fucking Yuki. Like, I don't know why they won't. Like, yeah, I get it. He's a hothead. Oh, fucking well. So is Max, and look what Max has done.
I think it's the money. It's the Honda money, right? They're going to be aligned with Ford here in a hot second, right? Honda's going.
But why not use Yuki? Why not use Yuki?
Honda money? He is backed by Honda money,
and at the end
they're
going
to be aligned with.
You
Ford.
still have Honda money for this year. Yuki is under contract for 1 year.
Yeah,
use him, get your motherfucking movie check, and call it a day.
Maybe it's not enough money. Maybe Honda's like, we're going to supply engine whatever resources, and you're going to run Yuki. Like maybe Yuki was like an add-on contract. So then what you end up with is a situation where any other driver can bring more money to the fold. So whether it's a Checo that has like a huge, state sponsor backing, or whether it's somebody else that brings in like a big corporate backer, like
he literally ate through the entire thing and fucking cost them money. Yeah, that works brilliantly.
No, we're not talking about keeping Checo. We're talking about who else could they bring in, right? And why they're not choosing Tsunoda.
Okay, so we're going to go over some quick numbers here because, Greg, I know you love the numbers.
Oh, yeah. Turn me on.
Okay, so Yuki versus DR3. Whenever DR3 got canned, he was at a 0.667 race points per weekend. Yuki was at 1.27.
Oh.
Yuki versus Lawson is the fun one. Lawson is at 0.667. Shocker. Yuki boosted it up to 1.33 points per weekend. He is literally doubling motherfuckers. At what point do you fucking swallow some pride and be like, okay, the boy can drive. Let's see what he can do in the big boy car. We have him on contract for 1 year. He sucks. We kick him back down to fucking AlphaTauri and pull Lawson up. This way you're keeping your stable going. You're seeing what Hajar can do in that second RB and going from there. It is the smartest play, but they're not going to do it because, thumb picks.
I agree with you. I actually completely agree with you. Do you think that they fucked up putting Lawson in the car instead of DR3 and letting him finish the season? Because he didn't really perform better. Or do you think that they went that way to see what a younger kid could do?
I think they went that way to see what Lawson could actually do because there was a lot of hype around Lawson from last year because he did come in. He did do really well. And it was like, okay, cool. Let's roll with this. Let's see how he does under 6 races. There's a reason why this kid does not have a fucking contract right now. Like, absolutely a reason. Yeah. And also, sorry, I forgot to mention it's about Checo's contract. This is a very, very interesting point. In Checo's new contract, he has it written in that he is not a Red Bull racing driver. He is an Oracle Red Bull driver, which means he cannot be moved down to the RB sister team. So at that point, I think he might have just fucked himself out of F1 altogether. So where they go from here is going to be very interesting. Yuki has the test in the RB20 starting on Wednesday, I believe. And that's why I'm saying I think Thursday is whenever we'll start hearing some true news. Because they're going to put Yuki in there. They want to see how he does. Right now, his sim times are a little bit below Max's. And that says something. Like, you really need to look at putting him in this seat. Yes, he's an explosive little chucklehead. But at the end of the day, I would rather have that and deal with a couple of minor fines or maybe not have your radio messages broadcasted than having another driver in the car that wants to fuck it off into the wall every 5 seconds. But that's just me. What do I know?
That seat is also like, the highest pressure seat in Formula One, right? And it's why such a long tenure driver and somebody that has been with Red Bull for a while, shouldn't be afraid and worried and concerned because they will replace you out of that seat if you don't perform and score points. And maybe it was planned and they didn't mind that he wasn't scoring points.
You get the fuck out of my conspiracy corner. No.
Let's talk about Ferrari's 2025 lineup and how great Ferrari is going to do next year. because I cannot wait after this last race. When you see the charging through the field of these two guys, 16th to 4th and 19th to the podium. Come on. Like it's what these guys can do. And if Ferrari ends up with the fastest car in the grid next year and doesn't over change things the way that they did throughout the season, where like their improvements were massive downgrades, I think Ferrari can win the constructors, and I don't think that that's that bold of a prediction.
Yeah,
what do you guys think about that?
You've got Lewis coming in is definitely going to challenge Leclerc. So Leclerc has to up his consistency game. His one lap pace is obviously great. Like the dude's, he can threaten any day, even when the car doesn't have the race pace. So then it'll be on Ferrari. Can they provide both of those two drivers something that can, do the deal? Max needs a teammate who's going to score more points, just like this year Lando had it. And I think it'll be interesting. I think Ferrari and McLaren next year are going to have very similar lineups in that you've got two drivers that can win at any given moment, right? Not that Sainz couldn't this year. He could. He might not have that killer instinct that Leclerc and Hamilton and Max and Lando have shown. I say Lando tentatively because he's thrown away more opportunities than a lot of people have ever had. But yeah, I think that'll be interesting. So for me, the big question mark is Red Bull. Like, how are they going to fare next year? What kind of car are they going to bring to the table? And like, how's the team dynamic going to work with whomever they sign on? So, but yeah, Ferrari, looking forward to seeing them continue to be successful. And yeah, we think Drive to Survive is going to be good this year. Wait till they get to record Lewis versus Leclerc. Oh boy. Oh boy. They talk about the Silver Wars, the Red Wars. Like, Italy's going to be on fire. People throwing baguettes at people and shit.
Wrong country.
It's going to be, yeah.
They got bread in there.
Yeah, they're not as big on baguettes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's bread called in Italy?
Pan. Baguette. Pan.
Pan? That
pan
doesn't have any ring to it. I'm going to throw a pan at you. What is that?
Anyways.
Do you want to be French for the ring?
No, but like, baguette, you could use that. You leave it long enough, it's a weapon, right? You can age those to be dangerous.
No, you know what you do? Which the Italians are going to hate it. But you throw pasta at them. It's scalding hot. It sticks to them. It wraps around them.
Just break pasta in front of them. They'll cry.
Yeah, that's true.
If you break it in front of them, they'll freak out. It's hilarious.
Or you cut your pizza up with a fork.
Fucking FOFA cooking channel.
So Lewis passing Russell on the last lap to take fourth, coming out of 16th was awesome. It definitely, I think, and I hope it gave him the moment that he wanted. It certainly appeared to do, like his radio call out and like conclusion, and the radio calls back to him were awesome. It was a good way to send someone off, and that was like, yeah, I guess that is how you send off a 7-time world champion and not just an 8-race winner. But that's what you get when you're a 7-time world champion, probably 8-time world champion. But
that's the other timeline.
But that was awesome. I love that quote. Like, you always be part of our family, and we love you too. And if we can't win, you should. And I think that's like a really awesome thing that Toto did for him and that he did for that whole team. And there's always rumors of the bad blood and them just what led to the departure. So it was good to see them wrap things up in a very positive way. And you could tell Lewis's emotion when he was sitting next to the car after the race and just like trying to take everything in. When you're in those kinds of moments where you're leaving somewhere or like taking off from a good team, it's like, yeah, you do try to have like form a core memory and like not leave it like completely, just get absorbed in all the commotion. And so, yeah, it was cool that he got to do that. Anyways, it was very emotional for me watching. I can only imagine what it would be like for him. Jay, what did you think about the emotional send-off of Lewis Hamilton? I know you're such a giant fan.
No, he deserved it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shit that he did with fucking Mercedes. There's nothing I can say against it.
84 wins, 78 poles, and 153 podiums.
I'm sure he sat on a lot of poles. Anyways,
There he goes.
He was with a lot of Diddy parties. I'm just throwing it out there.
Wait, really?
Yes.
All right, Mr. TMZ, you need to like come up with some facts on this before we get our asses sued for defamation or something.
Oh wait, yeah, I don't have money for a lawyer. We should
allegedly
put allegedly in front of things.
Allegedly went to Diddy parties. Was Terry Crews there?
Allegedly, that.
Who wasn't at a Diddy party?
Is he watching
like
porn?
The guy rented out full hotels.
Let me rephrase this. He was P. Diddy's homeboy. I don't have anything that says that he was actually at a white party. I apologize.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
You know who had themselves a very good season is Pierre Gasly.
You gotta say it
they
right.
Got the upgrades. What?
Pierre
Gasly.
I'm not doing that dumb shit.
R.I.P. DR3.
For someone who bitches and moans about DR3 leaving so much, you don't even like pay him homage when you can.
No, just because
Bad
I
bitch.
don't like the French. No.
Nothing to do with the front.
I'm not doing that.
What?
He's getting no special consideration from me. He did have a very good season though, especially towards the end and like when it really started to count. So it was cool
Like
because that wasn't just. He, not just like a flash in the pan fluke race, you know, when he took the podium, he came back and still stayed in the points. And it was a huge contributor for Alpine staying in sixth ahead of Haas. So when I talk about, you know, he had a good season, he wrapped it up very, very well. And yeah, that pressure starts to mount because if he hadn't been scoring points, they could have lost to Haas because Hulk was driving the hell out of the car. Magnussen was doing what he does.
He was not wrecking anyone. Shush.
Yeah, he was very well behaved.
Yes, but like Hulkenberg definitely like made things competitive to Alpine, which was cool. And I liked watching that fight for sixth place because it was almost as interesting as the fight for the actual Constructors' Championship was, which makes Formula One such a distinct and kind of unique sport where like who's going to take sixth and like this actually matters and there's millions of dollars behind it. Like I like that about Formula One. Like this is exciting. It's not just, you know, whoever's taking first. And that's the only thing that we care about, especially because sometimes it can be 4 times in a row.
Or, you know, 8 times in a row.
8. I like that number.
You would.
Not
anyways.
So let's jump into, we're going to do real quick tech talk, I think. And then we're going to switch into Conspiracy Corner. Greg, are you ready for real quick tech talk?
Okay, so this is where Piastri, who was charging through the field, he just passed, I forget who, but Alonso is getting past Tsunoda here, and Piastri comes rolling up on Tsunoda, and he's like, I'm going to go right by this dude in turn 11, which is this. It's right here, back here, and then this is turn 12. He's going to duck right underneath him here, and he ends up way out here. And if you notice, if you follow this out over here, there's a wall there very soon, right? So had this happened anywhere else, yeah, Piastri would not have finished, and maybe that would have sort of affected some strategies for the championship, the Constructors' Championship. So this was a wild catch on his part. It's a miracle he caught it and saved it down to here. But basically what happened was he got up right underneath Tsunoda, and he wasn't just following him down into turn 12. He wanted to pass him, which means he needed to close the gap and go from like maybe back here where my cursor is to up here to block so that he has the full inside line and Tsunoda has to back out, right? Clean pass he was looking for, maybe a block pass, who knows? Yeah, so he ends up out here basically in like New Jersey-ish area, and that could have had huge implications. And it was all because it took arrow right off from underneath the car, right? And it was straight up spin, right? Comes diving in, does a little weight transfer deal, and that's it. Game over. There's not enough arrow on the car. Car's like, see you later, goodbye. To us, it looks like a spin because the rear end came around first. But the truth of the matter is, he was so close to Tsunoda's car, there also wasn't any grip on the front axle either, right? There was just no aero under this car. And these cars generate a lot of their aero right down the center of the floor. So when you get that close, you'll notice a lot of drivers, they will start from either wide or shallow. They won't be right behind somebody when they're initiating a pass, especially when they're loaded up like this, coming through a complex section of corners. You got to have aero on these cars, especially when you're coming down from like super high speeds to super low speeds. Bottas, classic example. He plowed into the side of Magnussen because he was offline on a dirty section. And as the aero came down, he still had more braking left to do. These cars are weird. Like, you can't just ride the brake all the way down into the corner like we do with any of the door slammers that we've had experience with, or even race bikes. You actually have to back off the brakes because the brakes are too powerful to stop the car without aero. So it's a weird braking technique that really only aero cars have to deal with, especially ones with this much aero. So this was probably never going to work, but man, it would have been cool if it did. And if he had started offline, maybe it would have worked, but nobody's passing down here. There's no rubber anywhere else. Like, these lines are from, I don't know, F-17 races, some support class that shouldn't have been down there anyway. So anyway, big props to Piastri for trying this, but the aero and the low speeds here was not going to work. So
he was definitely shooting for like a Leclerc and Hamilton like performance and trying to like shoot from the back, because I think he knew, he's like, well, shoot, he was in 19th and he was in 16th and now they're pushing up. I'm going to keep pushing. Like, why can't I do that? I've got the better car. And it is just one of those. And I don't want to say it's a lack of experience thing, because obviously his ability to correct in a situation like that was phenomenal. Like, and it was and you're absolutely right. Like, one of the only turns on the track where you could probably lose downforce completely coming into a tight turn and not like pitch it into a wall. Like, he has this like, gigantic section of the track to drive off on and then correct and come back on. But he did keep it from spinning expertly. It was just one of those things where it's like, oh shoot. And you almost forget like how much these cars rely on aerodynamics until something like this happens. I can't remember who it was. I think it might've been Hinch, but one of the commentators said that, getting a little tired at the end of the race. And then like, that'll wake you right back up. Cause it might be in your brain that like, oh, I wasn't just thinking, I'm only thinking about the past and I'm not thinking about the aerodynamics. Yeah. And then, he woke back up. I think this was like in the 40s. I think it was 46 or 48, the lap that it's happened on. So that made sense.
So what's better, these tracks where there's a ton of runoff where they can make these brave moves and maybe not make it, or the ones where there's just a ton of gravel and like you instantly get sucked up and that car is out of the race forever? Yeah. Balance.
This is nice. Like, I appreciate this and the ability for guys to run off and not have to lose their entire race. Yeah. So good on them. I like this track, everything about it except for that weird pit lane.
I love the pit lane. That is like the greatest
I love that pit
okay.
lane.
God, Rich, know your audience.
Apologies. I think it's too slow and it's weird and we can't see what's happening. You guys know, but talk about the pit lane. Why do you like the pit lane, Meg?
It reminds me of a freaking Hot Wheels track.
Okay.
I just go back.
I think conceptually it's a good idea. I think conceptually it was a good idea and it's cool for people watching it. I think it's like a nightmare for drivers.
I feel like they have fun with it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Also,
who like the pit lane? How many pit lane incidents do we have and near crashes do we have in this pit? That was some wild shit that happened.
Like, I forget who it was, but somebody like last minute decided that they were going to go into the pit lane and like skidded into it.
I know who you're talking about. I can't. Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
It was Pierre. It was Pierre.
Yeah. He was like neck and neck with somebody and then just last minute went.
That was whenever he was fucking with Russell right before going into the pits. Yeah. I need all of you to go check the WhatsApp right now to see this fucking cuteness overload.
Is it Penelope?
Yes.
With Max. Lowering and like lifting his
putting down the fucking visor for him. It was adorable.
Yeah, no, it was so cute. Or
soon when they asked him about expecting, well, not soon to be, he is expecting father Max Verstappen now.
They also interviewed him on the way in and they asked him like, oh, how does it feel like you're gonna be a father? And he's like, I kind of already am. I'm a bonus dad.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that. That's good shit. Do you think it's? I don't think it will have the same thing that it did on Checo, like the same effect. I think Max is too mentally compartmentalized and dialed into racing that it's not going to change him much, if at all. He might swear less, maybe.
No.
You're
supposed to swear in front of your kids and then tell them when not to say it and when to say it.
Well, there you go.
Like my kids, they're just not allowed to say it around grandma, at school, or in public places.
And people who curse live longer.
At home, they're like, Dad, pass the fucking Cheerios.
Wait, hold on. Is this why it's off balancing the bacon, maybe? I think so. I think we're on to something here. Anyways, bacon, because bacon takes 7 years off your life for however much.
Yeah, so if you swear while you eat bacon.
Or 7 minutes, not 7 years. I apologize.
I'll keep eating it.
I will too. I just had some this morning, in fact.
I'm here for a good time.
I should have died in 1492. I mean, at this point, let's be real here. But regardless, conspiracy corner? Conspiracy corner.
Yes.
Let's go. Okay.
Put on tin hat.
Yep. I'm just a tard in tinfoil. But so looking at the Red Bull season, let's be real here. They already knew what the fucking writing on the wall was last year with Checo. We've talked about this numerous times. The man could not race in Europe, period. Barely held it together for the other races outside of Baku and the beginning of it. Well, conspiracy corner being what it is here, we have two ways to look at this. We have either Red Bull were being nice and trying to give Checo a chance to recover, because last year went so well with that recovery point. Not. Or they actually thought he might do something, or they were really going to change at mid-season for DR3. At this point, I think as soon as the Liberty Media came down and said, hey, we have a lot of money coming up because he is the only Mexican driver on the grid, keep him. At that point, I think Red Bull was like, well, fuck. If he tanks, we just lost Newey officially. Official. We don't have him. We need the wind tunnel time. If we go into 2026, which the wind tunnel time resets at the end of this year, if they go into 2026 stationed how they were, they would get their asses cleaned, just straight up cleared off the track constantly. It would be like the turbo hybrid era all over again at the beginning. So now that Red Bull has picked up 15 or 20% more time, Greg? I can't remember the actual I can't remember the time. Shit.
Yeah, there are too many other rule sets in my head. I can't.
I apologize. So they picked up a lot of tunnel time for very cheap if you think about it. Because at the end of the day, if there's 3 teams on the grid that do not need money, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull, they do not need money whatsoever. They print money at Red Bull, for fuck's sake. But yeah, no, realistically, it just makes so much sense to just let Checo in that car. Now, granted, I don't think they meant for him to fuck it off into the wall as much as he did, but they knew he was going to tank pretty much. And I think that's the only reason why they're not get the fuck out of our car, is because Checo knows some shit. And he gonna say something. Who knows? It might be the fact that that wasn't actually a thumb. I don't know. But at the end of the day,
he probably knows stuff about Horner.
That's basically what I just implied. Thanks for ruining
the really?
Joke. Thanks.
I don't really listen when you talk. Sorry.
Mr. Thumb, Mr. Horn Dog.
Yep, the Horn Dog. But yeah, this is just my personal way of thinking it. I think that they realized we can't get rid of Checo. Let's use him to tank us. Max has almost got the World Drivers' Championship in the bag. He's just got to win a race and pick up something else, which Max was very consistent. It makes sense. Mercedes weren't even close to them. Everything worked out. They still took thirds. They still got a chunk of championship change. but they got back so much more wind tunnel time that it'll be well worth it. Now, the beautiful part is at, I want to say May is whenever the time resets and they re-grab who has reduced wind tunnel time. So whenever they pull that grab, whoever is in the lead of the Constructors' Championship gets affected by that. So even if they develop a little bit of the car to make it just enough to survive and everything like that, they'll still have the same amount of wind tunnel time going into 26. They will still be able to push that new car, and I still think that they can pull something off. So we will see. It'll be very interesting to see, and unfortunately, we'll never know. But yeah. So the other thing is, and Rich, I'm going to feed off into something completely random, and I apologize right now. You guys were talking about Lando or Charles or Oscar or Lewis being the person that's going to win the championship. I don't think so. I think it'll still be Max, and here's why. Everyone else is going to be splitting wins amongst those four. Whoever can win 2 races and then be consistent throughout the rest is going to be the person that takes home that championship. Lewis and Charles are going to fucking knock each other off the racing lines. There's no questions in my mind that they're going to constantly go off the track. Sorry, Greg. I know I see your face. I didn't mean to say racing lines. I meant to say the track.
I feel seen.
You're welcome. Lando and Oscar is a ticking time bomb. Like, realistically, that is going to be fun, especially with fucking...
As soon as one or the other of them hits puberty,
Exactly.
No, it's gonna be like so fun to like. I still want Rich. You have a job to do. I still want like the Star Wars-esque F1 poster with Oscar Piastri like superimposed and the rise of Piastri, because he is gonna overtake Lando. Like next year, there's gonna be so much drama at McLaren.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely, yeah. Sorry. I actually was typing, so I had to mute my mic. There's going to be copious amounts of drama in McLaren and Ferrari, and it is going to be fucking glorious.
I'm going to just have popcorn like all the time, just waiting for shit to explode.
So
Haas is also going to have drama because Behrman expects to do as Behrman did, and Ocon's going to Ocon, and that's not going to jive, right? Like, yeah, I dig that. I dig a lot of what's going to happen next year.
Oliver Behrman was 18th in the championship points, the World Drivers' Championship.
How many races did he race this year?
1.
One
race. Well, he raced 2. He finished in
7th in the first
7th on 1. It's where
and
he
9th in the second, I think.
Okay, yeah, he scored points twice. Yeah,
he was the first driver in history to do it.
It was good enough to.
Wait, how many points? Again, how many points did Checo get this season?
150.
Checo got 152.
Okay.
Yeah,
152. Finished behind Hamilton, who had 223. He finished in front of Alonso, who had 70. So obvious disparity in the cars and the teams there. You guys think Aston Martin will wrap on this, like with our kind of 2025 predictions? Do you guys think Aston Martin's going to get their shit together with the addition of Newey, or do you think it's going to come after like the 2026 season?
2025 into 2026.
To quantify this, who will they outscore, right? So it's one thing to say, yeah, Aston Martin's going to do better, but like, who do they?
Will they break into the top 4 is what I'm saying. So yeah, like, will they break into the top 4?
So
because right now it's like the power 4, right?
Yeah. Newey's going to bring more than just aerodynamic updates. He's going to bring best practices for engineering, right? Just like Braun did for his team. Like, he knows more than just the aero side of the house. Like, he's been part of some very successful teams over the years. And he's going to come in and be like, cool, you guys are doing this right, but we're going to also fix this. And that's going to pay dividends as well. So
He's
I
kind
agree
of like
with-
that lead
with
advisor
Jay.
role with like
Arrow's
Niki
not going to
Lauda,
come till
like
the year after.
Sorry,
Yeah.
he like kind of plays that
Mhm.
role like Niki Lauda did in racing, where it was like, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Listen to me.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can
And I
change
think
all the
that same-
personnel you want, but this is how they're supposed to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that same attitude
agree
of
with you.
I know how to do this is going to help fix Ferrari, because Leclerc spent this whole season being like, you must ask me for strategy first. Do not tell me what to do. I will tell you what I agree with. And Lewis already does that. Lewis is already very vocal, being like, you guys suck. Why am I on this strategy? So I think the two of them will help keep Ferrari, just like Sainz did. Sainz played a good role in that. So this is going to be fun. Anybody got like a wild ass prescription prediction for next year? Something that's just like, nah.
I prescribe chaos.
No,
down
I
with
think, I mean, my wild prediction is Ferrari's going to win constructors.
That's not a wild prediction at all.
Okay.
They've been
It's a
clowns.
great car. It's a
My-
great car, and they're going to have two great drivers.
That's my prediction. Then it's not a wild prediction. I have a wild prediction. No, I got nothing wild.
Who is going to step up to Verstappen in his own team?
I don't believe
If
Is it
it's
gonna be
not
like
Yuki, it's a
Lando.
fucking crime.
Is it going to be like Signs coming in?
With all of the stuff,
year
like
later-
all of the shit that Helmut Marko talks about, because we all know he's racist as fuck, I could see him easily passing over Yuki.
I think that's part of what it is and why they don't put it in the seat. Jay, I don't know how you feel about that.
I think that's the main reason why they're not putting him in the seat.
Makes sense to me.
Why?
All right,
'Cause Marcus
we are
is
getting
very
close to the
sappy?
top of the hour.
Yeah, that's what we were
Alright.
saying.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. I'm sorry, my brain's not.
Oh, I'm half. It's okay. I'm half here too.
Um,
Good thing. This is a good place
So-
to wrap. So we're actually hitting right at the hour mark, and I have an appointment I cannot miss. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap.
I'll
This
miss
will
all
not be
you
our last.
fucker.
This won't be our last episode of the year. We will do one more. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do it next week, but we will do another year where we'll just kind of like recap the year and talk about more of our
Testing.
predictions for next year. Yes. And we'll talk about the testing that's happened. And yeah, we'll have more predictions for the future year and
And
Ideas
just
for
to
the
talk about all the updates for the teams.
yeah. And so, yeah, thank you all for listening. This has been Formula One Fans from America, episode 16.